Hi, I'm Joanna from Richland County First Steps, and we're going to be talking about some of the brain state models and the states executive, emotional, and survival state, which are the basis of conscious discipline. And it's just going to be a quick overview, and we're going to have an assignment at the end just to kind of see what you've retained from this, and then we can kind of move on to the next level of conscious discipline because there are a lot of parts of it, and we don't want you to get too overwhelmed. So we're going to start with the brain states model. And so as you can see in this picture right here, we have a image of the brain and it's color coded. So let's start with the red coded area, which is the survival state. So the survival state simply asks the question, am I safe? So when a person doesn't feel safe based on a trigger or their environment, they will go into this mode and they will appear withdrawn, they will go into fight or flight or freeze mode, and they will not be able to learn or do their best thinking. Next, we have this blue area right here, which is the emotional state. And this is simply asking, am I loved? So when a person is triggered or they feel by the scenario that they are not loved, they will start to yell, ignore you, blaming the people around them, having attention-seeking behaviors, being extra clingy because they are trying to meet the need of am I loved, and they are trying to seek it out on their own. Again, just like in the survival mode, they don't make their best decisions in this zone because they are too busy trying to answer the question am I loved to start taking in the world around them in the best possible mode. So as you can see, this green area is the biggest, and it's the executive state. It's the holy grail of brain states. It's where we want to be. It's where we make our best decisions. It's where we are the most primed to learn, and we are the most focused because our brain knows I am safe and I am loved, so therefore I can learn and make good decisions. So essentially this state is always asking the question, what can I learn from this? Because they feel that they have all of their basic needs met and can learn in this environment that we put them in. So we're going to break down each of these segments in the next couple slides, each of these states. So let's talk about survival. So I really like this quote right here. It is hard to flourish when we're in survival mode. Our brain wants to take care of us. So if we feel like we're in an environment that is not safe, our brain and our triggers our body to go into fight, flight, or freeze. It is trying our best to keep our physical body safe, and so we're not making our best decisions. So a person that is in this will be very stressed. They will be withdrawn. They will show some aggressive behavior. They are just trying to keep their body safe. And so sometimes teachers, because they see a child going through this, will also be triggered into their own survival state. And that makes it hard to help a child that is in this because we are also going through our survival state. So what can we do? How can we best help these children that are going through it? Well, first off, we also need to talk about what it looks like. So we mentioned before that children are going to be exhibiting certain behaviors. So you'll see children like this hitting, running, kicking, crying, shutting down. And like I said, they'll do the 3 states of fight, flight, or freeze. So we'll see a child that are going through fight, kicking, screaming, spitting when something doesn't go their way. When they freeze, they'll become withdrawn. You'll see them not playing with others, daydreaming a lot more, and of course flight, trying to get away from a situation, running away, excessive fidgeting. They're very restless. So this is just physical things you can notice in a child that might tell you, oh, they are going through survival mode right now. So what do they need from me? So we need to be as calm as possible. Like we said, sometimes our survival mode gets triggered because they're in survival mode. So we need to take a deep breath, remind ourselves we can do this, we can help this child through this hard time that they're going through. And by doing this, we're modeling behavior we want the child to possess. So if we are stressed out just as much as them, they are going to continue to be stressed out because they're not seeing another way to handle this. But if we are actively modeling it, they will see, oh, there's another way to help. And Q-tip. Q-tip is on here, and this is not just for survival mode, but Q-tip is very important because it means quit taking it personally. Sometimes when a child misbehaves, we take it as an act of they're doing that to make me mad. It's not about you. It's about something that they've been triggered by, and their brain is trying to help them best sort it out. So quit taking it personally. It is not about you as a teacher. It is about something they are going through. Letting the child know consistently, you are safe. I am here to help keep you safe. Repeating phrases like that, and this is hard. I know you can handle it, just like you had to tell yourself. Deep breathing, I've got this. I can handle this child's behavior. Remind the child, you can handle this behavior and this feeling you're going through. And continually modeling that deep breathing, that conscious discipline breathing, such as the balloon or the faucet, downloading calm from yourself to that child. Just by being close to them, they will eventually start to feel calm as well, downloading that calm feeling that you have. Taking time. It's not going to happen right away. It's not a magic solution. It's going to take some children a little bit of time and some children a lot longer to download that feeling of safety. And being physically close, touching a child's hand, squeezing it if they're comfortable with that, so that they feel that touch, and that automatically makes their body feel a little safer. And some children aren't comfortable with that, and you need to respect that. So just whatever the child is comfortable with. So next we have emotional, and the child's brain is asking, am I loved? So what you'll see from these kinds of children is they will be seeking reassurance that they're loved. Sometimes it can be over clingy behavior. Sometimes it can be attention seeking, back talk, yelling. They'll act out of anger. They'll act out of fear. It's a little different than survival. They probably won't withdraw as much, but they are seeking love and attention from any source. So again, just like in survival, a child cannot learn in this state. They are too busy trying to seek acceptance and love from the environment around them. So when they're in this state, when you get in this state, again, sometimes it can happen when a child is in an emotional state, it can trigger your emotional state, and nothing will be able to help because a teacher must always try to be an executive state so that they can help children in their emotional and social. They cannot be higher than you. You have to be the highest state of learning. People in this state need to feel loved, and they need to feel safe, and they can't focus until they're reassured of this feeling. What do they need from us? Just like survival, that we need to also model calm, and we need to remind ourselves we can do this. Some ideas to help children get out of this state are connection activities, such as I love you rituals. So these are usually nursery rhymes. Conscious One has a lot of examples that you sit down and do individually with a child. You say their name, you connect with them physically, you can do eye contact, and this helps build a bond and a connection between the two of you. You can do I love you, like these are called I love you rituals, and we can go into those a little bit further on in another video. Wish wells. Wish wells are simply telling a child, I see you're going through something really hard, and I'm going to wish you well. And you put your hand on your heart, you say the child's name. We are going to wish Jonah well. Take a deep breath, let it out. We wish you well, Jonah. And just seeing someone that they love and is a teacher in the classroom, so has some authority, is calmly wishing them well and knowing that they can get through this will have an impact on their emotional state in a positive way. So let's talk about executive now. Okay, so for executive state, this is the big green area of the brain where we want to be, where we do our best teaching, where children do their best learning. It is when our brain knows for a fact we are safe and we are loved. Now, I wish we could all be at this state all day long, but it's not realistic. A lot of people's brains flicker through all these stages at all points of the day. Sometimes we feel really confident, really ready to learn, and then something small will trigger us and it'll bring us back to survival state. So again, we're going to dive into it deeper later into videos of techniques. We mentioned a few of obviously breathing and doing the I love you rituals and the well wishes. These are all great techniques to help children get to the executive state, and we'll dive into those a little bit deeper. Right now, I just want to focus on how to recognize each of the states. I also want to point out we can't decide for others when they feel loved and safe. So it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of those connection activities to help a child get to that executive state. And we just can't say, hey, you're loved, you're safe, you're in your executive state. That would be great, but it's not going to work that way. So we need to do the work, put the steps in and the connections to help get to children to feel on their own, and then we'll work with them to get to that executive state. So you're going to have a Google form that you'll receive, and I'd like you to fill it out. And it's just going to have a couple of scenarios of children's behaviors, and you'll just have to analyze based on the scenarios given if that child's in their emotional state, their survival state, or their executive state. So let's go over some examples to kind of help clarify. So let's say Amy is in your class and she wants to play with her friend that she met on the playground, but that little girl wants to play with somebody else instead of her, and she said, I'll play with you later. So Amy gets upset, pushes her to the ground, and says, you're not my best friend anymore. Is Amy in the survival, executive, or emotional state? Well, because Amy felt like she was being rejected by her friend, she didn't feel loved. She would definitely be in the emotional state. Let's do another example. So let's say that it's a special holiday and you have someone coming to your classroom dressed as like the Easter Bunny or a Cat in the Hat, and that person walks in and the child gets scared and they start to run to the other side of the room and try to hide behind things, or they'll cling to their teacher and they'll kind of have like a shortness of breath and be very, if the person try to come near them, start to try and hit them. Would that be an emotional state, a survival state, or executive state? So because they obviously didn't feel safe, that would be survival state. So they lashed into that, trying to push away and get away, that fight or flight. And then when the person came near them, tried to hit them. So that would definitely be a survival state. So there's a lot of scenarios on there. Try your best. If you have any issues with it, please contact me and we can go over it together. But once we get a firm grasp of being able to identify which state is which, we can move on to how to deal more specifically with those states and get the child to a more executive state. So I hope this is helpful.